A lone man surveys his surroundings in deep contemplation. You know what, guys? I know I'm Fwip, you know I'm Fwip, so this is why I don't do intros, because we know who I am, and let's just get on with the show, because I'm sick of wasting everybody's time with things that we don't need to have. Alright, so when we last left off, I was putting Tesla coils all over the base. You know what? That worked out pretty good, because I don't see many wisps around here right now, because they're all dead! Alright, it's not all that effective, but it does kill about, 25% of them? I'm serious. 40 wisps around the base are kind of tricky to deal with, and at least it does keep them down. Very simply, all I have is a wireless receiver and some alloy wire on top of each Tesla coil, which of course is hooked up to an MFE underground. And it's all relayed back into this one lever right here, which should activate every single Tesla coil around my base. Which is pretty cool, I think. Nice little defensive measure. If we just look out even the front door, for example. If these obsidian plates would let me. There we go. There's one right there, too. Alright, so what we're going to do today... yes, it does feel a bit like it's an RPG and the story's on rails, but I actually do have it pre-planned today. We're going to stroll around our base, and let's go in through the shortcut area, which I haven't actually fixed yet. It's not a shortcut. You just walk around. But basically, my plan today is, I'm going to show you a machine I recently built, and then we're going to test out another machine I plan to build in the future, which should be fun if it works right, and if it doesn't work right, I'm going to be very disappointed, indeed. So, here we have the B-Labs. Oh, I'm still so proud of this. Oh, wow. This is a lot more liquid nitrogen than I thought I had. You're probably thinking, hey, Fwip, what in the world do you need liquid nitrogen for? Answer, it's an extra bees, and it does absolutely nothing yet. But whenever there is a use for it, I'll have it. I'm also now gathering up poison, which is made from the virulent queens. And you're probably thinking, geez, you must have a lot of resources if you're storing a bunch of stuff like milk and oil that you don't need, or apple juice. And you know what? You're absolutely right. But down here, I'm also getting these pulverized obsidian combs. And if it would load, yeah, the Abyssal Queen actually creates the darkness effect, which is very actually scary. Getting blinded for 11 seconds every time I walk down here is kind of unsettling. I don't know if I can use it. I have extracted it with the isolator, so that's a great plan. I'm getting a bit sidetracked, though. The machine that I've built utilizes all those massive alvearies in there, and yeah, I'm up to basically 10. Knight is jealous. Whatever, right? Point is, all these bees produce combs, and those combs only produce tiny dusts. But of course I want full dusts. The tiny dusts are useless. So I have built this, the dust compilation machine. Now, it does look rather complicated, but I'll explain. I've got my smart, in fact my evil clay golem here grabbing all these various combs, putting them here into the router, which shoves them all into the centrifuges. The centrifuges pump it all into various iron tubes. There are so many auto-arctic gates, seriously. When I found out how auto-arctic gates worked, I had a field day. Like, I'm using so many of those in this design. Anyway, all the tiny dusts just basically head into a diamond pipe, get spat out into these auto-crafting tables, and let's go have a look at that, just so that you understand what I'm doing here. There's probably a couple of other options I could have used instead. For example, fabricators. See, they just basically compile the dusts, which gets shoved into the chests. The other options I was thinking I could have used are, fabricators, or maybe even... Oh, what is it called? Something that puts other things together. Right, the craft packets... No, the packager, yes. It's made with a craft packet maker and a craft packet stamper. But my issue is, I don't understand if I put a wooden pipe here, it would suck from the input or the output. And I definitely only want to suck out the products. And I knew that auto-crafting tables would do that. Now, is it working that well? I've got 12 diamond dust already just from that, compared to 14 iron. So I'd say so, right? It's giving me whatever I need, and I don't need to put it together. Now, unfortunately, I wanted to use barrels for this. Like, it would have been wonderful just to have barrels, but it turns out, for some reason, in Minecraft, you can't put items into the sides of a barrel.
Why can't barrels work just like that? Come on, it's not that hard, just a different side.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's meant to be realistic, huh? But, I figure copper chests are going to be just as good. I mean, I don't expect there to be tons and tons of stacks. Point is, bees, they're great for materials, but they're also hecka slow, but that's okay. While I'm AFK, this base is chunk loaded, so it'll add up. Alright, if you guys seriously have some more suggestions on how to fix the dust compilation machine, because it's not only slow, but it was pretty resource intensive, I'd appreciate that. There must be a better way of just mixing dust into dust. Dust to dust. That sounds great. Okay, so the thing we're going to test out today is very simply the factorization pumps. I need to figure out if I can create a very interesting trap. For what? Well, we're going to find that out in a different episode, because today I just need to figure out if the concept is solid. Now, the easiest way I can think of for what I want is to have two pumps. One that's going to fill up a room with water source blocks, and another that sucks all the water back out. Now, I don't want this to be too complicated, and I know it works on source blocks. So the thing is, I need to make sure that I don't accidentally fill the room up infinitely and then don't have a place to put it. That would be a big issue. Now, I'm going to need some dirt just to make the room, or some glass or something. Let's go with dirt and these glass viewers. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, I'm thinking maybe one Zycraft tank will be enough to do what I want to do. Right? One liquid void and one Zyclorium water should create the right effect. Okay, so I'm thinking the possible issue that I'm having here is that you can't both pump in and pump out at the same time. But that's not necessarily an issue, because by the time someone has completed the trap, I can just reset it if I want. And I do want this kind of a thing to be resettable. You see? Like, that would be the best around. Okay. Then I'm gonna make the others drown. That's the point. Okay, let's do this. Okay, the valve here is gonna lead to the Zyclorium, what's in Figglesworth? No, you know what I mean. The liquid void thing. I've never used it before, but it should, in fact, do what I want it to do, which is just simply erase all water up to the top of the tank. Meaning, of course, that the Zyclorium water will not only be able to fill the tank forever, but that if I pump stuff back into the tank, it will also be able to pump in forever. Because the problem is, trying to remove infinity source blocks would mean I've got to put source blocks somewhere. But if they just get voided, then that's good. Then I don't need to worry, right? I don't know if you understand my thought process here. My thought process is, I'm going to make this as simple as possible, so it's going to work on its own, and I don't need to worry about whether my base is accidentally flooded by my own creation or not. Basically, here's what I'm going to do. Because I'm doing it right now. One liquid void button. This should void all liquid up to a certain point. I should actually have another valve just to do this, but whatever. Zyclorium water. This should start filling the tank up. Oh, once I right-click the valve to tell it that it's a tank. There. Now, it's going to fill, and then when it gets to the top, the liquid void will void all the liquid. Not all the liquid, but it'll stop. Right? Right, okay. So the next thing we're going to look at here are these grates. That's the issue, isn't it? How in the world do you get these things to orient themselves? I'm not entirely sure. But I think if I do like this... Oh, come on back now. Just on this side, please. There we go. Okay, if I hook up the fluid pipe, I should theoretically be able to pull liquid into or out of the tank from the same area, right? Maybe? That's what the testing is for. Here is the pump. So to start off with, we're going to want to pump out, right? I mean, I could technically pump in, but not until I filled my test chamber with water. So that's what we would like right there. Now I know that it's going to need a battery box, and then the battery box is going to need power, so let's just set that up. I believe that you can actually set solar panels next to each other, or at least the blue electric ones. And they'll add up nicely to fill up this battery box. Okay. Next step. I don't know if fluid pipes will connect quite right. Can I just maximize the potential of this by, for example, let's see if this will work. I just want to make this as compact a design as possible so that when I'm using it, I don't need to worry about pieces everywhere, because that would be cool. Come on. Why isn't it breaking? Do I have to use a special tool, or am I just lagging out? Looks like lag. Okay, I will be back when that is fixed, I guess. Oh, never mind. It fixed itself. Good game. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Because what I was hoping on doing was just having 2 pumps attached to each other. Maybe that wouldn't be possible, though. Like, can I connect multiple fluid pipes to multiple areas? I can. Yeah, looks like it's possible. But I'd need this, the second pump, to be attached to... Right? Okay, what if the second pump was on top of the battery box? And I simply grab my screwdriver and put it around backwards, right? So that this one is pointing this way. This one is pointing this way. And I could basically just use levers to tell it which way to go. Like, would that be a cool design? Maybe. You'll see why this is so cool once I actually get it set up. If it works the way I want it to work. There, okay. So theoretically now, I'm using one pipeline to both pump in and pump out. Right? That one's pointing this way, that one's pointing that way, yes. Technically, they should both be getting charged. After a while. I guess 4 solar panels takes a while to load. That's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind time frames. Now we just need the room. The room that we're gonna pump all this stuff into, just because we can't just pump water willy-nilly everywhere. No, it's gotta have a purpose. Okay. Easiest way to do this, I think, would be to do like this. Like this. Oh, whoops. I'm glad you don't actually need the Omni wrench to break most of this stuff. And finally, a grate here. And we're gonna use the screwdriver again. Make sure it's pointing this way. Boom! Okay, that is connected exactly right. So the point is, let's pretend that this is a tiny chamber in which there's some sort of timed challenge going on, okay? Actually, what would be better, even better, is if this was hidden underneath a bit. But for sake of argument, we're not going to do that, okay? We're just going to go like this. And make it, how tall? Good question. But picture it like a timed challenge, because it's going to be timed. It's going to be timed into, basically, as long as they are trapped in this tiny room, they have to find a way to unlock the door. If they don't find a way to unlock the door, the room will fill with water and they will drown. I've always wanted to do this in Minecraft, and I didn't think there was a way to do it until now. Until I learned that this factorization pump uses source blocks, and not actually just flowing water. Because if it's just flowing water, that'd be useless, right? People could just remove the water, or rather, if you like, in regular Minecraft, if I put source blocks in the ceiling and I break it, it doesn't drain. The water will just fill up the bottom floor as if it was just... You know, you can't just fill a room with water. You can't do that. Not really. But this might do it, if I'm right. If I'm wrong, well, you know, that's what the testing was for. So my goal, again, is a room that fills with water, and if they don't solve the puzzle, they drown. They just straight up drown. And the only way to figure out how to get out, well, we'll worry about how the puzzle is later. This is the concept of whether the trap works. Okay. So, if I'm wrong, I don't know what I'm going to do, but if I'm right, yes. That blue light means the pumps are charged enough. The red light means that they need a signal. Now, all I'd need to do is put a redstone signal on one of the pumps, and it would work, I believe. So, let's start this one, which should pump out of the Xychlorium tank. Let's go have a look at that. Is it working? Yes. The tank is frozen in that position. Okay, good. And is this actually pumping water? It is not pumping water. Why is it not pumping water? Pump is on. The grate is there. The tank is full. The only possible solution I can see is that perhaps it doesn't work because grates and valves on tanks don't interact. Now, if that was correct, then the easiest way to test that would be to put some source blocks on top of that grate and see if it just spits them out everywhere when I turn on the opposite pump. Which would also confirm or deny if simply having two pumps attached to the same fluid line would work or blow up. Hopefully not blow up. I don't want things to explode right outside my house. That is not in any of my plans. No. Let's just figure this out. If we put a single water source here. Alright, it goes all over. The grate should understand that it's there. So, now we grab our lever, and we'll turn on the opposite pump, which is this one. And the only way to turn it on is if I had a block next to it that wasn't also next to that one. So, like right here, I'll actually be able to tell up here. Now, what this should do is actually spit out water into that grate and then onto the floor, I think. Down goes that. And the water was put under that grate. Yes. Okay, then the next question I need to really consider is how do we move a water source from here into the tank? Because the point of using the Xychlorium tank with water and void is that I don't need to measure out how tall any given room is. It would fill up the room forever, and it would also be able to drain the room forever because there's a draining thing in it and there's an infinite water thing in it, right? It might take a little while, but you know what? That would just mean increased time limits, and I'm into that. I'm into giving people a spare fighting chance. So, what would work? Maybe a Buildcraft pump? Maybe if we took a Buildcraft pump and we put it next to the tank, attached to the valve. Very curious. Let's test that out, okay? I'll be right back, guys. Hello, everyone. I'm back after quite a bit of consideration. I've decided maybe the tank is not the solution. Okay, follow me on this. Okay? I can't really think of a way to get liquid, once it's in a tank, back into the overworld. I mean, I'm already using red power things, so there's obviously not something that will connect to the Xycraft tank in the way that I want it to. And of course, a Xychlorium water block does not actually do anything in the overworld. Like, if I put down this water block, it's not just gonna put water everywhere, which is kind of a shame. I mean, the ice one will forever turn water into ice, but the water one will only generate water on a valve in a tank. That was kind of like my shortcut idea. Now, there's been other considerations that I could do. Hannibal mentioned something about a deployer and water buckets, and then building some sort of system where you could possibly pump water in infinitely kind of thing. But you know what? That would take ages, wouldn't it? Think about it. I'd need this complicated redstone setup so that when you hit a switch, the buckets would be deployed, the red power thing would pump the buckets back in, and then how would you do the reverse? You'd need another pump, and then some way to stop the buckets from going there. It would be kind of weird. I've never used filters before. I've never even used pneumatic tubes before, so that's not our option. No. Today, our option's gonna be Trying to see if a grate will work the way I want it to. Alright, so here's the plan. If I turned on the pump right now, it wouldn't do anything, right? Because the grate is not, in fact, touching the water, right? Let's examine that. I can't see it having some sort of special magical properties where it'll suck things out that it's not touching. That's simply, again, not how it works in the real world. It's pumping, and it's not pumping anything. Right, that's not how it works, of course. The grate has to be probably touching the water source block. So the easiest way to do that would be if this grate was simply touching the water forever. Okay, so let's put our grate here, for example, and connect one more fluid pipe next to it. Oh, wait. My bad. I need to make sure that the square goldy part, you know the one, this one, is facing the pipe that I'm putting on. Okay. So now, if I switch it on, it'll be switching infinite water, right? Yes. And the infinite water is going to slowly fill this room up until... Yes, it goes even to the second floor, right. Perfect. Now the issue is, now there's more water in this area than there is in that one. Do you follow me, friends? Do you follow what I'm saying? If I switch on the second pump to pump the water back in, lo and behold, the issue is going to be, I'm going to flood everything. And that was precisely the thing I want to avoid, is flooding the world in the opposite way. Now this is exactly what I want to happen. Gradually, somebody that's in here is it's gonna fill up to the ceiling, okay? And I'm guessing that once the room is totally filled, it will obviously stop pumping. Even if it didn't stop, it wouldn't matter. Dude inside the room would drown, okay? We're talking about a scenario where the player cannot break blocks to escape the room. They have to solve the puzzle before the room fills to the top with water. And here's my thing. If I then start pumping this way, it refills the source blocks, and then what happens, huh? Then it's gonna start spitting out water everywhere, right? Like, yeah, it's gonna start putting source blocks all over the place. That's the problem. Well, guess what I can do? A liquid void block will work in the overworld. So, if I just put one of those right here, I think, like, that would void here and here. No, that's not precisely the place that I want to put this to test. I also didn't want to break that block, but things happen sometimes, okay? Point is, if this void block works the way I want it to, then this pump will attempt to continuously pump water back out. There, right? Now that liquid is voided. There's never going to be able to be water source blocks there, but the pump doesn't know that, right? So if I'm up here, this room, still full of water. That room, obviously smaller. Go pump! It fills it up. Now all the water's gone, right? It can't put water in that one spot. The liquid void will always remove it. Oh. Now the issue here is, now this floor is an infinite water source. Right. That's not so bad, though. If only the floor is always water, that's not so bad. Right? Because lo and behold, if I start draining from here again, then this will just fill up forever. Right? Right. That'll be forever done. Dude in here is going to be having some serious problems. Because this is going to fill all the way to the top, right? And then, of course, they drown. Flip off the switch. Drains all the water out. And then, well, it works. The only thing is that there'll always be a floor of water. You know, that's fine. That'll be good for appearances, And it will kind of be like a little hint that's the beginning of the end for them. Because, yeah. Down goes the water very slowly. Oh, that's great. Because this part here is not infinite, right? It'll drain all the way to the bottom. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's perfect. One sec. Let me just double check something. Will it suck stuff off of a platform above in the same way? Is my next question. Because if so, all I need is one or two infinite pools on either side. Some liquid voids. Thank you, Zycraft. Maybe you are the thing that made this trap possible, because I've never seen anybody in Minecraft try to build a room that drowns people before. Obviously, I do want it to be kind of a platform game. Something like that. So, if there were platforms in the room, that's what I want to test. Okay, so say you're here. Okay, and you got your platform. Let's make it like... Let's put a few. Let's put a few platforms, just so I understand, right? Because this is, in practice, a test chamber. Let's say you've got a platform there, and then maybe a four wide one, like, up there. Like, that would make sense to me. Let's say you've got, like, a tiny one right here. 4 in the corner, right? Nothing too complicated. So now, if I go to the pump, and I switch it on... Or, wait, I have to switch on the on pump, not the off one. Because right now, all that would take is a lever to turn it on and a lever to turn it off. And then, boom, the trap is complete. Let's go check this out from above. So it's going to fill up the whole room, right? Yeah, you can see it filling up the corners where there weren't water before. And of course, it is draining a little bit, but because it's an infinite pool here, it's fine. And the liquid void makes it fine backwards as well as forwards. The only controller aspect is me. There, it's filled to the top now. Okay, good. Still no issues on this end. Perfect. My issue now is, if I turn on this, let's have a look at what we've got. On this end, we've got, oh yeah, water all the way to the top. There's platforms in it, and it's been sucked up. So if we turn on the pump to suck this all back out, will it know what to do? Like, will the water sources from the very top go away? Like, right there. This is infinite. That one is infinite anyway. Or it would be. The rest of it wouldn't be. So what happens? I can see it's trying. It sucked up all the corner pieces, but it couldn't get the ones that were on top. It's still going. That's very curious. So the rules of the water still kind of apply. It will suck up everything, but if the source blocks aren't connected, like it sucked up the corner sides, it couldn't suck up the corner one here. So technically, if I broke out, like, if I made, like, the platform be half and half like this, would it be able to suck up those pieces? It seems to be sucking up everything else. Like, if I remove the platforms now. So there were just source blocks in this room. Would it know what to do? Now, it's drained everything except for the top, because it's no longer reaching the top, right? In fact, it kind of looks like it's finished. That does confirm the other problem. And that is that platforms inside the room will be very difficult to manage. Right? If I just remove that one source block it couldn't remove, it will show me, of course, that it's drained everything except that one piece, right? That is my guess. Oh, it also couldn't drain this one. Because it got down too far. And then, of course, everything else is gone. It did everything it could. So I'm going to need to really, really think about platform necessity. And one last test, just to see if this works or not. If I have one of you, and I put a portal under the water. Portals underwater do not work. How about portals partially in water? That portal will work. What happens now if I start pumping back in, is my question. Will it delete the portal? Like, do portals survive underwater? You might kind of get an idea of what I'm doing right now, but I don't mind that as much as the next fellow. So the portal's in there. And this is going to start adding source blocks. So what happens? Is it going to ignore the portal? Or will it destroy the portal? I hope it destroys the portal. It does! Oh. Oh. Oh, that concept works. That's enough of a concept to make me very, very happy about the results. So now, if, for example, the rest of the platform was, say, oh, I don't know, maybe a few blocks like in a cross pattern, so that there was never exactly a block or so that it couldn't drain. Like, it wouldn't create an infinite source. Would that then work? Like, once it filled up the entire room, would there then be a way for it to drain everything out again, is my next question. Because if that works, then we have not only a little bit of a design challenge, but a proof of concept that this is going to work. Alright, so we wait until it's put source blocks on all of those blocks. Okay. There we go. Yes. Excellent, excellent. Yes, it's now infinite. It's now an infinite layer. Turn that off. Give me this lever back. Put it over here. Commence draining. Will it now drain the whole room out, even though there's platforms in there? Because before, the platforms, if it created an infinite source, didn't work. Now, it should be able to drain everything again, right? Because this would be a major pain if it wasn't able to. Again, this is the limitation of the drain. And by drain, I mean the great block. Which, you know what? This is a great, great block if it's able to do that. There goes the source blocks. I'm wondering if it's able to suck that one up in the corner. I really wonder. That might be the limitation. It did suck that one up, though, didn't it? It did. I'm not sure why it wouldn't suck up the other one. It's sucking up the ones underneath. Right. Let's say remove that one in the corner. Maybe it just doesn't like corners. Or ones touching sides. Let's say it was a bunch of floating blocks in the air then, like that one there. Then it would work. Then it would work. That might be a very challenging design, but it would work. It would work! Okay, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. You guys can use that knowledge for whatever you want, but I have a very specific goal in mind. We're gonna see if it works later on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.